When we see something bad happening, our natural impulse is to get away from the trouble, is to get out of jail. How do I do this? How do I move from this painful place to that less painful place? Sometimes you have to accept what's happening. I always used to look at those Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom tapes as the shows they had, where, the cheetah will be chasing the gazelle and jump on the gazelle, and the gazelle's wriggling, and then there's this moment when the gazelle stops. Just stops struggling. You see its eyes, and it's not that it's dead. It's that some part of the gazelle realizes, I'm now cheetah food. I'm now more cheetah than I am gazelle. And it surrenders to that and moves into almost, a self-doula death state. You see it breathing, but it's trying to metabolize its conversion from this animal to that animal. And sometimes we have to do that. I'm not saying we have to accept our own death, the death of our kids, the end of the planet, or anything like that, but the transformation of what we understand as life and civilization into something else. At the same time, if part of our journey as people is to open our awareness, to open our hearts and open our awareness to what's going on here, the more you do that, the more pain and suffering you see. For me, the way I've been experiencing it is as this ocean of tears beneath this kind of thin membrane of reality as I know it. And how do I breathe through that? How do I metabolize that? We're each metabolizing on an individual level the pain and suffering that we're seeing during this transition, but that we're going to need to collectively metabolize what's happening. And that's different than political activism or systems change from the top. And this is the thing. No one knows what's going on here. No one does. And part of Western civilization was an effort to really figure out, using evidence, what is happening here.
Isolating behavior as its own entity, separate from all other aspects of life.
I think we got to the place where we've come to understand that that's a booby prize. That figuring out what is going on here is less fruitful and conducive of flourishing than being with what's going on here. Donna Haraway wrote a book, what you call it, Staying with the Trouble, right? Staying with the trouble. And that's what I'm trying to learn how to do. And it's the opposite of how I was trained as a nice little Jewish boy. You fix the trouble. You fix it. And in some cases, you take the thorn out of the baby's finger, but we've got to ride this one out. I tend to feel guilty when I'm happy because there's so many people who are not. But I guess I've come to see it as if I happen to be, for some extended moment, experiencing joy, it's as if I'm a leaf in the healthy part of a tree. So there's some part that's really sick or doesn't have enough water or something. But if I'm up in the healthy part of the tree, should I be fully healthy? Should I open to the sun and take the rays and do my photosynthesis and be in the full joy of healthy tree? Absolutely. Because that's the only way I'm going to send all the best nutrients down to the sick part of the tree that needs me. It's the only way I'm going to give the tree organism enough stuff for it to survive. If I, as the happy part of the tree or the healthy part, look at the unhealthy part and let that consume me, then I'm just another unhealthy part of the tree. I'm dying also. And it's not necessary. And I mean, I used to do this in my relationships, It's like I'm gonna mirror the pain of my partner rather than metabolize it and experience my life as joy. Everyone must suffer together, when one is suffering. But it doesn't make sense metabolically. And similarly, it's like with human beings in a culture, if there is suffering on different parts of the planet, but when I'm metabolizing whatever it is that I am, whether I'm dancing or in life or on a mushroom trip or experiencing nature, I'm a part of the organism that's now more capable of composting and transforming our collective trauma, because we are connected in very real ways. It's not necessarily a substitute for doing what I can actually for other people in the real world, but every breath is an opportunity to experience infinity. Why not? And why not do that? Even if you're there bandaging a bomb victim, to be there with them in the most open, metabolized, compassionate way you can. I mean, if you were the bomb victim, what do you want there with you? Do you want a panicked, upset, suffering individual, or do you want friggin' Mother Teresa there, with the light of the heavens emanating, and I've been with people like that, who they're with you, and their presence with you, metabolizing with you, is healing, and I've gotten to experience it from the other side just a couple of times. Once, with a dying relative, and I didn't want to be there. It was at the moment that she was going, and I put my hand on her hand because I figured that's what you do, and I could feel her whole soul pass through me. That I could feel that for lack of a better word, my nervous system became an extension of hers, like additional RAM for her to make this passage, that I surrendered my system to hers for that. And it was, I'm almost guilty to say, it was profoundly blissful to experience that. Not like a high, not like a dopamine high, but like a feeling of another, like a soul move through my nervous system. And to have been of service to someone, to have helped somebody get out of their body, not through any discipline or skill, but just by being present. Wow. So if that's real, and I believe it's real, it was a real enough experience for me to say that was fucking real, then I do think there are ways that we can be present and aware for each other. And cultivating awe, which is really just your sense of connection to everything. That feeling you get when you're in nature or when you look at a baby, or when you're in an ecstatic dance with old and young and everybody, and you're not trying to get laid or anything. You're just in the organismic dance with the other people. Those states, I would argue, on the one hand, they're great training for being present with others and helping people metabolize, but I have come to believe that they are in and of themselves healing for this greater organism. of which we're a part. I'm not talking about that rush. I'm talking about when you really work through it. A real experience of this sort requires, it's not all pleasant. You reach states of awe, and they're in there, but they're usually the result of breathing through something, of metabolizing something, and that's that stuff that you're metabolizing. It's the same way a mushroom colony can turn the death of something into new life. That's a primary function of being alive. And it's the very function that I feel like Western civilization has been designed to disconnect us from. If you think of just what do we do with our poop? We sterilize it, and New York poop, they actually put it on barges and send it to Texas. We've removed ourselves from the cycle of life, from the ability to be part of the composting, and it's partly because we're so scared of death and all this stuff. We're scared to be to go through this process. It's interesting because what we've done is we've replaced or simulated enchantment. So we don't have fairies in our lives. We have algorithms. And it's partly because enchantment triggers and fosters a whole wide range of hormones and neurotransmitters, and it's a full spectrum experience where the substitutes for enchantment, like car crash movies or pornography or TikTok explosions, they trigger very simple addiction creating neurochemicals. They're very compatible with a society based on answers and endings. You do something, you go to school, and what's the answer to this? What's the answer to that? What's the answer to that? That's why kids cheat or use ChatGPT or something, because there's answers. We are not a society of open-ended processes and questions. We hate the idea that this just goes on, that there's no omega, there's no culminating, we're not going for anything, that this is it. This is it. It's so frightening. And most forms of enchantment don't provide answers. They're the twinkling effervescence of existence, that draw you into the moment, and you see, oh, we are living in an enchanted conscious universe and here to play. You don't need to have any purpose here even. So if you're just a person and you have no purpose and you don't need to get enlightened and you don't need to be saved, then how can you be controlled? You're just gonna play and eat and fuck and live. It all changes. All those, those very tight reality tunnels we've used to create systems of control, they vanish. When you sterilize your reality, you lose that. You lose your gut microbiome. These things that we saw, and I get it, bacteria, bad enemy. There's bacteria in your stomach, let's kill it. It's like, no, it turns out there's more of them than there are of us. And, we might just be media for bacterial colonies to find each other and exchange species for all we know. But no, that's part of it. You don't live without that. You get really sick when you screw up your gut biome. So it's we have kind of the figure and ground reversed in our understanding of the world. And it's partly this being open to the enchantment of the universe means being open to these cycles of life, the way everything's metabolizing everything else, and seeing that less as a threat than as the dance.